Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I'm your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Podango puppy, Sophie. Welcome. This is a knitting podcast. If you are here, it is probably because you like knitting. And I do too, and I like to talk about knitting, and I don't have a whole lot of people around me that I get to talk to about it that can appreciate knitting. Since COVID, it's gotten even worse. I used to have a knitting group that I would go to every Tuesday, and I don't even have that anymore. So this is kind of my outlet to talk about the knitting things that I like to talk about. I hope you guys like to hear about them and see them. So anyway, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about the things that I've recently finished, the things that I am currently knitting, maybe some things that I want to knit. Also, I'm going to talk a lot about things that I have recently gotten, because there are many of them, many things that have come into my house lately. And they're knitting things, and they're super cool, and so I'm excited to talk to you about them. So let's get started with the things that I have finished. I am still in my basement, but I was sitting down on the floor right there. I'm now sitting on top of our massive orange beanbag that Ron built a case for, so it kind of like flops over the stand, the case, the seat, if you will, like a big muffin top, and so or a mushroom, I guess. So that's what I'm sitting on now, and I've finally got this tapestry that I've had for ages. I finally got it up, so it makes it seem a little bit less dungeony, I guess, down here. So anyway, let's, as I said, get into the things that I have recently finished, and they're right here in this bag. This is the first thing. I picked up this yarn last April at the Interweave Yarn Fest in Loveland. One of my very good, very old knitting friends from way back when we were spending all of our free time on Ravelry 10 years ago. I met Amy, who is the dyer behind Cannon Hand Dyes. I met her before she was a dyer, and we have kind of kept that friendship going. So last year for Yarn Fest, she asked if I was available to help her with her booth, set up and break down her booth. And I was, of course, happy to do that. It also allowed me to do a lot of shopping in her booth. And so one of the things that I picked up from her is one of her bulky gradients. Let me remember what it's actually called. So the yarn is called Fyodor, Fyodor, bulky. And it was a yellow-green gradient, as you can see. It kind of went from neutral with some brown or dark orange speckles, and then there's like a yellowy green kind of backing to that, and into this beautiful brown. And I made the bandana cowl by Pearl Soho. I did cast on less stitches than the pattern called for, because I don't think I only had 106 yards, and I wanted to make sure I didn't run out. So I just kind of cast on what felt right, and I kind of took a gamble because it's knit from the bottom up, so you cast on here and then do short rows for this, point spot, and then you once you're done with the short rows, you just knit straight. I think it's perfect. I don't like the cowls to be super wide. If I'm going to wear a cowl, it's because I want it to be warm. And so something that's kind of cropped close to my neck, that I can pull up and, cover my nose and mouth when it's windy and whatnot, that's perfect for me. I can also maybe not do that. Looks like I'm wearing underwear on my head. So anyway, I do love it. Unfortunately, I think I knit it a little bit late in the season because I don't know that we're going to have another really cold day, but I do still really like it, and it'll get wear next year for sure. So as I said, I cast on less stitches, and it worked out fine. I think it was like 10 stitches less than the pattern calls for it. It's a free pattern. And yeah, I did block it, but I didn't block it aggressively. So I basically just blocked it so that this wouldn't like do that too much. But yeah, I'm pleased with how it came out. And it was super quick and easy, fast. A nice, you know, it took me a couple of days to knit it, but it didn't need to. So that is finished. And I have a pair of socks finished that I knit for Ron. And here they are. They do not fit on my blockers, obviously. These are Patton's Croy. Hopefully you guys can see that Patton's Croy sock. I'm rather far away from the iPad right now, so I can't reach it to get super close. The colorway is called the Blue Striped Rag, color number, nope, I don't know. The Blue Striped Rag. It's one of their most famous colorways. I've seen a lot of people knit it because look at how adorable it is. I mean, it's got this heathered look, and these stripes, these colors are perfect for the stripes. It's just such a great colorway. Peyton's Croy is, I think the Canadians call it Peyton's. It's like a heavy fingering. I knit this with my normal US size 1 needle. I cast on 64 stitches. I did my normal recipe, a Turkish toe cast on. I did a true afterthought heel after the fact, and then knit until I got to the ribbing, which is 1 by 1 with Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. But you might notice that the socks are not at the same spot. They're a little bit off, and the reason for that is because I used, it comes in 250-gram balls, and I used all but this of each of the balls. This is maybe a couple of yards, enough to get through. It's basically from the end of this lighter blue stripe to this yellow stripe, the end of this yellow stripe. That's basically it. So 1 gray and 1 yellow stripe. And then it's because, I guess it's because it's a heavier weight. But yeah, so I did not have enough to, well, it's also because Ron has long feet and he likes his legs to be high. So yeah, I normally use a good portion of a skein of yarn for socks for him, but I don't know that I've cut it this close before. But I thought it was kind of funny that I almost used the entire thing. So those are done, and he can now wear them. And I made him a pair of socks now instead of knitting other things because, you know, my sock mojo's been kind of low. Because he only has, I think, 7 pairs of socks. And if he wears a pair every day, then I have to do his sock laundry every weekend. And I don't have to do my own sock laundry every weekend because I have a plethora of hand knit socks. And I don't want to have to do sock laundry every weekend. So I figured if I knit him more socks, then I won't have to wash them quite as often. That's my logic. So there's another pair done. I have one more finished object. Sophie, stop. If you follow me on Instagram, then you saw that I posted this FO shot today, but I finished my sweater. This, there it is right there. There's the stitch marker from where I was the last time I posted. So I finished the entire body and I did both sleeves. And I wove in all the ends even. So yeah, it is a little bit, like I would like to lose just a tad bit more weight to feel more comfortable in this. And I think I'm going to have to redo the neck bind off because I think I bound it off too tightly. I can get it on, and when I wear it, it's not uncomfortable. It's perfectly fine, but I have to like take my glasses off. I sometimes have to take my hearing aids out because it catches my ears and my nose when I try to put it on. So I think I've got the bind off just a little bit tight. But this is the Ladies Classic Raglan Pullover by Jane Richmond. The yarn is Lolo Did It in her worsted. Look at the Flowers Lizzie is the colorway. I think it is gorgeous. Of course, being a speckled hand-dyed yarn, I had to alternate skeins throughout, which included the sleeves. I had to alternate the skeins through the sleeves all the way, which was such a pain in the rear end, but it's totally worth it to make sure that I didn't get any pooling, and I didn't. It looks the same throughout the entire sweater, and I absolutely love it. I didn't change anything with the pattern. I think I got gauge with the recommended needle size, so yeah, I'm very, very pleased with how it turned out. And I know that I will get a lot of wear out of this sweater. I did make it intentionally a smaller size so that I could wear it. As I'm losing weight, I've lost just under 20 pounds now. That is wonderful. The medication that I am taking is semaglutide. Somebody asked me in the comments last video. It's a weekly injection, and it's helping me fight a lot of the food, fight a lot of the bad relationship that I have with food, and helping me to fix that. So I'm feeling a lot better about myself. And losing weight at a healthy rate, which is wonderful. So this, of course, is the kind of sweater that you could wear oversized, so I should be able to wear it even as I lose more weight. I just really, really like it, but I am learning that I need to, if I'm going to knit sweaters that are going to be smaller, I need to maybe go down even more, because I only went down one size, and as you can see from the pictures that I've probably been posting right now, it looks like it fits just fine. So if I want them to be something that fits smaller Christy, I'm going to have to make them smaller, which is a nice problem to have, honestly, because I don't want to stop knitting sweaters. I really enjoy knitting sweaters, and a lot of the enjoyment is the knitting itself. I am, I'd say 75% a process knitter, but I do like having the product in the end as well. I like to wear them, and I like when people say, "Oh, I like your sweater," and I get to say, "Oh, thanks, I made it," and they go, "You made that?" It's such a nice feeling. So yeah, so I need to be able to make them so that I can wear them. But I had a lot of fun with this, and I wanted to say, I was going to talk about these in my stash haul, but I used a new product to make this sweater, and I thought I was going to hate it, but I found that I absolutely loved it. So I I knit a lot of socks. I'm a magic looper. I'm a big magic looper, but I have to admit that when you do magic loop on sleeves, or, well, maybe I guess just sleeves, it can kind of be cumbersome and kind of obnoxious. And I remember people getting those 9-inch circulars for sock knitting, and I tried that and I absolutely hated it. So I was kind of expecting that when I heard about the ChiaoGoo shorties, what are they called? Twist shorties, that I was going to hate them too. But I wanted to give them a try. And so I got the, I don't know what, the blue one, which is for, it comes with, the blue one is needle sizes, I think, 4 to 8. Hold on, let me look. Yes, 4 to 8. So they come with 3-inch needle tips in all the sizes, and then 2, look at how tiny this is. I love little things. 2-inch needle tips in each of the sizes. So you can see 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There is a yellow set as well that I have, that I bought as well. I don't think I brought it downstairs with me. And that has sizes 9 to 12, maybe. The US sizes, of course. And it only has 3-inch tips, which works out perfectly for me because I really dislike the 2-inch tips. I've tried them several times now, and every time that I did, they weren't long enough in my hands. It didn't feel right. But I do like the 3-inch tips, and let me say, it comes with all the tips, and then it, oh, I'm sorry, the yellow one, the package, it comes with 9, 10, and 11, so it doesn't go to 12. But the blue, sorry, I'm a little disjointed. The blue comes with 3 cables, 3 very short cables. There's a 5-inch, a 6-inch, and an 8-inch. And I just, basically, when you know, you have the sleeves on holders, I would put it straight onto the 8-inch needle or the 8-inch cable with a 3-inch needle, and pick up the stitches on the bottom, and you're just knitting in the round. I mean, it's obviously not a big circumference, but it worked out so nicely for the sleeves. My gauge was a little bit looser, I will admit, but it really made it feel like I was just knitting. I didn't have to keep, you know, doing the magic loop thing. And it was great for the helical knitting, you know, the alternating skeins every row. It just worked out perfectly. And I was able to get down to about here on the sleeve using the different short cables. And then it just got a little bit too small of a circumference. If I could use the 2-inch needles, that probably would have gotten me through to the rest. But I just ended up magic looping from here out, and that was just fine because it was just a couple of inches, and it worked out lovely. So yeah, I highly recommend these sets. They're not cheap, but you know, ChiaoGoo is worth the investment. They are the only needles that I use, and I've never been disappointed. So yeah, they come in their little cases. This is obviously for the blue one. It also has this little twist shorties. And inside the case are the needles, as I showed you, the bag of 3 cables. It comes with some enders, some stitch markers, some tees. there's actually, oh, there are a couple of cable extenders. So if you wanted to make your cables longer, you could do that too. And a little cute little needle gauge. And then there's an extra little pocket in here that you could put little tchotchkes in. But yeah, I'm pleased. I don't think that I will use them for anything other than sleeves. Maybe a hat. Maybe a hat. But that would be about it. But I think it's a tool worth having, because I knit enough sweaters, and sleeves are a unavoidable part of sweaters. There is another set, I think it's red, and it is all of the size 3, 2, 1, 0 maybe. And I don't expect that I will buy that one, mainly because I don't knit sweaters often on those small a small gauge. I might, if I could buy the tips separately, I might get a set of 3" 3 tips, because I might make a sweater out of US 3, but I don't think that I need 2s or 1s, because I don't like knitting socks that way, as I've mentioned already. I tried that. It does not feel right. It feels wrong. And I heard about those from Leslie of A Friend to Knit With podcast. She just happened to talk about it, that she had found them when she was traveling and absolutely loved them for the sweaters that she was knitting. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that too. And I'm really glad I did. So yeah, that is all that I have finished. I will say that I bought too much of this yarn. I have nearly a full, or probably just about a full skein. This one is almost full. I had to break into it a little bit to alternate for the sleeves, for that last sleeve. I have this left of the other skein. And then I also have a whole full skein left over. So I've got like 2 skeins of Look at the Flowers, Lizzie. And then I had originally bought blue suede shoes, another beautiful Lolo Did It colorway, that I was going to use for the hem and the ribbing, but I didn't. And now I can make a hat or something. I don't know. To figure out what I'm going to do with my leftovers. I don't normally usually have that much left over. It's kind of nice. Apparently, I was expecting to need more. This is knit on an 8. Yeah, so it's not a small needle. So I probably would have used more if I'd used a smaller needle, if I had knit a sweater that had a smaller needle. So it's kind of a loose gauge. Not super loose, but yeah. Anyway, so that is finished, and that is the 3rd sweater that I've knit this year, which is lovely because it's March, so I'm kind of keeping up. And now we can talk about the things that I am currently knitting. I have another pair of socks going. I finished Ron's socks on an evening when I didn't have time to wind another skein, so I just grabbed something that I had in stash that was already wound, and it was this from White Birch. Came like this. Is one of her gradient sock sets. that I bought at the Yarn Fest in Loveland years and years ago. But it came with 2 caked up 50-gram balls like this, and you can see that it's gradient. And I wanted to start with this red on the outside for the first sock, so I rewound it so that I could use it from the center because that's how I roll. And I've got the foot all done of the first sock. Look at how pretty that is. There's cat hair everywhere. So yeah, so I have, it's just a gradient. It is ending up nicely. I have turned the heel, and I've got, you know, the whole leg to do. I will do the second sock the way that this one was wound, so it'll be the polar opposite, starting with the brown and at the toe and going up to the burgundy. So that way I'll get to see the best of both worlds, because I never use the whole skein, and that was what I was concerned about with it being wound this way. For both of them is that I would never get to the pretty red, because it is such a pretty burgundy maroon color. So yeah, that is going nicely. This is my work project, so I just knit on it at lunch. So it's a process. It takes a long time to get it finished, but it'll happen. I have one more of these from Amy at Cannon Hand Dyes, and I think I might knit that one next. I'm looking to, a couple of years ago, I did a thing on, like I tried to knit all my oldest stripers for socks, and I'm thinking about maybe doing something like that again. Some of these sock, maybe not stripers, but just sock yarns that I've had for a long time, trying to get those knit into socks. Because it makes me sad when the yarn just sits in the stash forever and never gets knit up. I often think about doing that with my sweater knitting too, but there's a lot more that is involved in, or a lot more time and effort dedicated to a sweater, that it's harder if I'm not super excited about the yarn. So, speaking of sweaters, I have another sweater on the needles, and this one is for my mom. I got in the Advent calendar, I think I showed you guys this last podcast, I got the Advent calendar from Bigfoot Fibers, and it was these beautiful, oh gosh, that's so blown out, beautiful speckled, strongly speckled, not speckled, sparkly. They have silver Linux in them, so they have a really strong sparkle. Words hard. So I had originally had a whole bunch of these little 20 grams, and I was gonna, and I only had one of the white skeins, undyed skeins, and I contacted Bigfoot Fibers. She's not dyeing anymore, so I then looked online and found, I think it was Paradise Fibers, that was selling, and they had one skein of this, so I grabbed it. And then I talked to my mom, and she was like, well, I don't really know that I want all the colors. She really liked the undyed. So I then found a dyeing supply store that had lots of undyed yarns, and bought a bag of 5 of these. So now I have 7 of these white skeins that have super duper sparkle in them. I wish you guys, well, maybe you can see that there. And I was like, well, now I have too much. So then I was like, well, maybe I can hold it double and make a DK weight sweater. And that is what I ended up doing. So I am making a Hohi Locatelli pattern. It is called Arco Iris. There's the picture of it. It has this really pretty cabled rib on all of the hems, and I thought that was kind of cool. And Mom liked it. It's totally her style, so I started making it for her. Now, I don't know that it looks like much yet, but I think it's going to be pretty when it is done. Here is what I've got so far. You can see that Mom opted to have the body of the sweater in the white, and then on the hems, on the ribbing, I am marling. So I'm holding one skein of the white and one skein of the color. You can see the cables there. It looks all wavy because Mom hasn't tried it on, and I wanted to make sure I didn't make it too tight. So I think that when she wears it, this is going to stretch, and it's not going to have that waffly bit. But if it does, I can obviously tear it, take out the bind off, and redo it. So I used this one for the neck, and then I have, oops, these other two. So these are the three colors that she wants me to use for the ribbing. And I'm basically just working my way down. It's not super exciting because it has no color. But it's good, mindless. You can see I've got several inches. That's how much I've got on the body. I'm getting pretty close. I have to have her try it on. I don't want to get too far ahead. I want to make sure that it is fitting right. But I'd say I'm over halfway through the body. So, and then when I do the sleeves, I'm going to do them with those little tiny needles, which is going to be good. And Mom wants them to be 3/4 sleeves, and she's got short arms, so the sleeves should go pretty quickly, I think. And this will be the next sweater that I finish. I am hoping to finish it soon, so that Mom can get a little bit of wear on it before spring's over. That yarn, you know, that's the thing. So I don't really know. I got it at the AC Wood. You guys see that? AC Wood Specialties Fiber Limited. So it is 400 meters per 100 gram hank. I bought 5 hanks. It's got 75% superwash extra fine merino, 20% nylon, and 5% silver lurex. I have I had 7, so 4 I've wound 4. I have 3 left. I'm gonna need to wind some more, but I just haven't yet. Yeah, I do like how sparkly it is. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the rest, because I don't expect that I'm going to have all that much of the white left. Not enough to make another sweater. I don't think that I would wear that sparkle. It's too scratchy for a cowl. But I have all of these other minis, and I'll have at least one skein of the of the undyed left. So I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Wish I hadn't wound them all of these minis, honestly. But, you know, you learn, you live and learn. And so I'm going into the haul portion. So if you're not keen on looking at yarn purchases, then toodles. But yeah, there's a lot of new yarn coming right now. So while I was on that AC Wood website, I was like, well, what else can I buy? Because of course it's undyed, so it's like buying at wholesale. It's super cheap price. And while I don't know how to dye and I don't really have any great plans to learn how to dye, I am like, well, I can knit myself something out of undyed yarn, right? And they had all these beautiful luxury fibers, so I got 5 skeins of heaven. This stuff, guys, is so soft. Oh my goodness. So it is 75% merino with 6.5 microns, 15% mulberry silk, and 10% cashmere in a sock base, 400 meters per gram. So it is so sweet and soft. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to make with it. Obviously a garment for myself, but I'm just in love with it. So I don't know if I will knit like just a basic sweater and then maybe dye the sweater afterwards. I don't know if I'll maybe learn how to dye. Obviously learn how to do it before I dye the pretty soft beautiful yarn. But yeah, or you know, hire somebody to dye it for me. I don't know, but it's so beautiful, and I'd love it to be a nice semi-solid, or maybe I'll just knit it up undyed. You know, I can wear white. Okay, the next several skeins of yarn came from one place. Cafe Yarn Creations, Christy, who dyes for Cafe Yarn Creations, I follow her on Instagram, and she posted that she was doing mystery bundles. It was like 4 or 5 skeins of DK or fingering weight yarn, and you didn't pick the colors, but you got, you know, her high quality yarns. And I love her dye jobs, and I love scrappy sweaters in DK. So I thought, well, it doesn't matter what she sends, I can find a use for several DK skeins. So I ordered 2 bundles, and they came, and it must have been 4 skeins. Yeah, so I got 8 skeins, and then I promptly ordered 4 more bundles because I couldn't. I was so excited. They came and they were so beautiful. So I'm not going to take them all out of the bags, but I will show you the bags. So this is, the lights are bad. So this is one bag. I've got Rainbow Falls, Weather Patrol. What is this one? Creature. This is Fairy Cat, Howl, and Scarecrow. And these are all in her Americano, which is 100% superwash, 231 yards per skein. That was the other thing, is that you got a mixture of her bases. I was really impressed because in ordering 6 different of these bundles, she did not duplicate a single colorway, which was awesome, although I wouldn't have faulted her for doing that, especially since it was 2 separate orders. And she evenly broke up everything amongst her bases. So I got an even amount of each base, which is awesome. So there's this one in the Americano. I have this bag, which is in her Veranda, which is a BFL, 245 yards per skein. And these colorways are, let's see, oh, I got them turned. So this one is Midnight Snowstorm. This one is Eggnog. This one is Cinnamon Pumpkin Latte. Aloe Vera. Boozy Hot Wassail. And Cranberry Spritz. And like I said, these are all in her Veranda. And then I've got this bag, and this is all her Cafe Latte, or Cafe au lait, excuse me, Cafe au lait, which is 100% superwash Polworth, also 245 yards. So we've got Old Fashioned Hard Candy, Nightmare. This one is Mischief, Plum Pudding, Dazzle Feather, and this one is a one-of-a-kind colorway. You guys can see that. And then there's one more bag. This last one is her Biscotti DK, which is 85 15 wool nylon, merino nylon blend, and is 245 yards. So they're all basically the same gauge except for the first one. Basically, obviously different fibers will knit up differently. But this is Reindeer Corn, Jelly Wreaths, Goblin, Phantom, Izzy Moonbow, and Flying Pegasus. So yeah, that's all Cafe Yarn Creations. It was such a good deal, and you know, the amount of scrappy DK things that I like to make, I thought, yeah, I can totally take advantage of that, and so I did. And you know, Christie's dyeing is gorgeous, so definitely keen on that opportunity. Oh, I was almost going to say that's it, but that's not all. There is this last thing. So Jimmy Bean wool. I'm a sucker for an Advent type thing. I'm sucker for a specialty box, and I'm sucker for birthday stuff. My birthday is May 2nd, and I got an email a couple of weeks ago from Jimmy Bean's Wool saying that they had a special birthday box. And I was like, yeah, I need that, because who doesn't, right? I'm so excited about it, and it's killing me because it is only the middle of March. And I'm going to open, there's 31 boxes in here, and I'm going to open them in May. So there's 31 days in May, so it's not going to be a countdown to my birthday, but it will be a thing to do for my entire birthday month. I'm excited. You know, it's the one day that's all about you. So yeah. So it came yesterday. Look at this. It's so awesome. It's heavy, but look at it. So, gosh, I can't. It's got a whole thing about astrology signs here. I don't buy into that, but I am excited about this stuff down here. It comes with, I don't know exactly what's in here, but there were 3 different colors. There was like a neutrals, there was a purples, and then this one is the brights, I think. And there's a pattern, there's like a crochet and a knit shawl pattern that is included. I think it's in like this first um, box. It also includes the needles that you need. And there's other goodies in here, and then of course it's each day is some of the yarn. So I'm excited about it. Even if I don't knit the shawl or don't like the shawl, I mean it's fun. I love this kind of stuff. I would do it Advent every single month of the year if I could. I'm excited. So I have a month and a half to wait. I'm gonna put it over there so it's not taunting me anymore. But I don't know if they still have any, but I would recommend that you go check them out. Jimmy Bean's Wool. Jimmy Bean's Wool. And that's it. The dog has decided that it is time to stop podcasting and it is time to start petting. I don't agree, but, you know, what do I know? I'm not nearly as smart as the dog. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your weekend and knit like the wind. Happy knitting.